Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Young and Restless is on the verge of psychoanalyzing the fun and drama right out of this soap opera. That said, we've had a couple of mysteries to keep us distracted. Who is Alan? Who is Aristotle Dumas? I've always been down for a good frenemies moment between Sharon and Phyllis. But making it permanent seems unwise when the name of the game is drama. It's become something of a trend with the current writers to therapize the edginess out of all the characters who traditionally keep us entertained with their pot stirring. Adam, Chelsea, and Diane have become dreadful bores. And now Phyllis, of all people, seems set to follow in their footsteps. It's disheartening to say the least and not at all what we're here for. The writers need to take note of the melodrama happening on Bold and Beautiful and Beyond the Gates. There was a ton of foreshadowing in those conversations between Jack and Tracy that make it pretty clear that barring a twist where Alan had some sort of psychotic break following the death of his twin, Martin survived and has been impersonating his brother. We predicted that Alan/Martin will target Ashley again as part of this surprise he's planning. And if cornered upon his return to Genoa City by Tracy, he may well pull out his phone and reveal that he has her sister locked up somewhere. If not, this could turn out to be yet another fizzle of an ending, where they simply expose that Alan is Martin and then trot him off to jail. Of course, our hearts will break for Tracy, and we'll hope against hope that Sharon and Phyllis get the chance to confront their captor. But I'm not holding my breath. Daniel and Sharon, after all, were robbed of such an opportunity for closure in the Jordan/Ian story. We're clearing ramping up to the reveal of the person behind the alias Aristotle Dumas. There are a couple of options here, and neither of them jive with my first thoughts on the character. When Victor told Michael that he'd competed with Aristotle Dumas to buy up companies over the years, the assumption was that he was a similar age to the mustache. But new information has our theories skewing him younger. With Daniel Goddard teasing an announcement, we had to consider that Dumas might be Kane Ashby. Let's consider some evidence. Lily's involved. Jill's involved. Kane has a history with Chancellor Industries. And he lives in California, where Dumas companies are based. It could be him. But he would have had to build an empire pretty quickly after leaving Genoa City to have been competing on Victor's level for years. A theory I like better is one floated by Mark Harding, a longtime Young and Restless viewer on Twitter, that Aristotle Dumas is Brooks' Prentice and will be played by incoming Days actor Billy Flynn. Not only is this much preferable to what would amount to an unbelievable Kane-related plot, but it would bring the OG Brooks/Prentice family back onto the canvas. I like to think it might also open the door for a Theo return. Anyway, for those who don't know, the Prentice family ran a publishing empire, which Victor once stole. This explains not only why Brooks would have animosity toward the Black Knight, but also the literary names for his companies, Monte Cristo and Dangler, and his alias, Dumas. The casting announcement had not yet been made, but the industry was buzzing. Every actor in Hollywood, from seasoned veterans to up-and-comers, had thrown their hat in the ring for the role of a lifetime. The character? Aristotle Dumas, the enigmatic and ruthless genius at the center of the Dumas legacy, a film adaptation of the best-selling novel. At the heart of the speculation stood one name above all others, Alan Martin. Alan was a man of contradictions, a chameleon on screen. He had the uncanny ability to disappear into every role he took on. In one film, he was a cold-blooded assassin. In another, he was the grieving husband tormented by his past. His range was staggering, his dedication unquestionable. But Aristotle Dumas was no ordinary role. The character demanded nuance, a razor-sharp intellect, and an undercurrent of menace so subtly woven that the audience wouldn't know whether to fear or admire him. The rumors began when an anonymous source leaked that Alan had been spotted at an exclusive dinner with the film's director, Eleanor Winslow. Winslow, known for her meticulous and almost obsessive casting process, had once stated in an interview, "The right actor doesn't just play the role, he becomes it." If Alan had truly caught her attention, it was a sign that he was more than just a contender. He was the front-runner. Still, the speculation was far from settled. Other names had surfaced, actors with their own claims to the role. There was Victor Chase, an industry darling whose brooding intensity had earned him 2 Oscars. Some whispered about Daniel Kavanagh, the British stage actor renowned for his Shakespearean prowess. Yet, for all their talent, none had Alan's quiet magnetism, that ineffable quality that made audiences lean in. their breath caught in their throats, waiting for his next move. Alan himself remained silent amid the speculation, neither confirming nor denying his involvement. He had always been an enigma, a man who let his performances speak for him. But his closest confidants knew one thing. If he wanted a role, he wouldn't stop until it was his. Eleanor Winslow had narrowed it down to 3 actors: Alan, Victor, and an unexpected wildcard, an unknown named Julian Hale. Julian had come out of nowhere, a theater actor whose only film credit was an independent movie that had barely been seen outside of festivals. But there was something raw about him, something that made Eleanor hesitate before dismissing him outright. The 3 men were summoned to a private screen test, held in a dimly lit studio where the only audience was Eleanor, the producers, and a single camera capturing their every expression. The scene was simple but devastating, a moment in which Aristotle Dumas, having manipulated his enemies into destroying themselves, stands over the wreckage of lives he has orchestrated, whispering a single line: "Power is not taken. It is given, and I take only what is owed." Victor went first. His performance was polished, deliberate. He exuded menace, every syllable dripping with calculated control. It was the kind of performance that won awards. But Eleanor wasn't looking for an award-winning actor. She was looking for Aristotle Dumas. Julian was next. His approach was different, more desperate, more frayed at the edges. His Aristotle was not just a mastermind, but a man teetering on the edge of his own abyss. It was compelling, but was it Aristotle? Finally, Alan stepped forward. He said nothing at first, just stood there, his eyes scanning the empty room, as if he could see the destruction his character had wrought. Then, without raising his voice, without even shifting his stance, he delivered the line. It wasn't just acting. It was a transformation. The room went silent, the air thick with something unspoken. Eleanor felt it, the way her breath caught, the way the hairs on her arms stood on end. Alan wasn't performing Aristotle Dumas. He was Aristotle Dumas. The decision was clear. But before Eleanor could speak, Alan did something unexpected. He turned to Julian. "You were good," he said, and there was no condescension in his voice, only respect. Julian, stunned, nodded in return. "Make him my rival. Someone Aristotle respects. Someone who might be his equal, if the world allowed it." A murmur swept through the room. This wasn't how casting worked. The lead actor didn't get to decide the supporting roles. But then again, Alan Martin wasn't just any actor. The official announcement came a week later. Alan Martin to star as Aristotle Dumas in The Dumas Legacy. Newcomer Julian Hale cast in pivotal role. Hollywood had its answer. And the world would soon witness the legend of Aristotle Dumas, brought to life by the only actor who could do him justice.